Hey, what's up, guys? Murder of Birds here, and this is my Parasyte episode 6 review. Oh my goodness, the cliffhangers are so goddamn real, especially from last week to this week. We got the agonizing week wait from episode 5 of finding out what happened with Shinichi. Is he alive? Is his mother going to, be on a freaking rampage? All that other stuff. And we get the resolve from last week, and then we get strung right into another cliffhanger for next week, to where it's another agonizing wait of who that man is or who that woman is. If that is that Shinichi's mother. To me, it looks like a man that was at the bottom of the steps. I don't know if anybody else is on, is with me there. Is there going to be a fight next week that goes down with this parasite? If it is or isn't Shinichi's mother, and also Migi had a slight realization towards the end of the episode too, when Shinichi was going after that parasite as well. Man, like, Madhouse, what are you doing to me? Like, this is ridiculous. Like, I waited, like, everyone's been waiting, and then we have to wait. Like, your community, your fan base is already dedicated. We're going to watch no matter what. And I really hope that they just don't take this approach of, string us along on with a piece of cheese and luring us to another cliffhanger every week to entice us to keep coming back. But other than that, the episode was really great. It's a follow-up to the aftermath of last week. Shinichi essentially dying from the mother parasite that ended up killing his mother. And at that point, Migi goes in, and this parasite goes into where he merges with Shinichi, merges with his heart. And at that point, he gets into some complex shit, because at that point, what he was doing to ensure the survival, Shinichi's survival and his own as well, was a lot more complex and a lot more dangerous than even what he mentioned of, severing a head and, hopping over to another brain, or even taking over Shinichi's brain. To where, when you think about it, he repair the heart. He had to, and also sustain himself as well as Shinichi, to where he had to heal the heart. He had to send all of the cells throughout the body. He had to circulate the blood from Shinichi as well as himself, slowly regenerate back into his arm, and provide nutrients like the sugar and the water for Shinichi, to where it will later go through the bloodstream for him as well. And that's obviously was a very long process, but it just shows, like, damn, like, this parasite doesn't screw around. It was either that or die. And it turns out, obviously, he's very intellectual, as we already know thus far. One thing also that I want to go back to is, like I said, I feel like that was a man parasite that was at the bottom of those steps at the beach, obviously taken over by a parasite. And I don't know if it's a more informed parasite or whatever, because, the parasites that we've seen thus far have just been on a wild rampage. You had those two fodder ones at the beginning, and like the mother one too just came through at the house and just killed Shinichi and left. This one, he's at a beach, which is very calm and tranquil environment, to where I don't know if it's going to be aggressive, if it's even going to want to fight, if it doesn't turn out to be Shinichi's mother. And then even if it is Shinichi's mother, it's like, he's saying he's going to kill her, I'm going to kill her, I'm going to kill her. But then when you're face to face with that, are you going to falter? Are you going to be flustered? Or are you actually going to go out of your way? Are you going to actually do it? So those are some things that I'm looking forward to, some cliffhanger elements that are just like, oh my gosh, like, why would you do that to us? But, yeah, I mean, I enjoyed the episode nonetheless. And, the results of this episode were very shaky at first. Shinichi looked malnourished. He looked out of it, obviously coming to the realization his mother's dead. His father's nowhere to be found, which turns out his father's actually alive and well in the hospital, recovering slowly. But the results from Shinichi this episode, I gotta say, I like him a lot more than what we've known him as. The timid, semi-aggressive high school kid. He's had his aggressive tendencies ever since being linked with Migi, but at this point, it's like he's full-on badass. Like, this dude has the mentality of revenge. Like, I want to kill this parasite, and maybe he even just wants to take out the whole species. But obviously, he had his little heart-to-heart with Migi of, hey, I don't see you as an enemy anymore. That was just my emotions. Obviously, my mother, very close person in my life, gone. Your kind did it. It has nothing to do with you personally. But he's just more of a badass. He has the initiative. He has more of a drive now more than ever, of where he actually wants to go out and kill these parasites, versus before it's like, okay, I'll only do it in self-defense. I'm not ready, this, that, and the other. It's like now he actually wants to fight. He wants to kill. And I don't know about any of you, but I felt like he got the Spider-Man treatment. The second he put his glasses on and they were foggy and he took them off and it was clear, I was like, Peter Parker, Spider-Man. Not to say that takes anything away. I was just like, wow, that's something that was very noticeable. And then it was a follow-up with his sharpened hearing. And then the fact that he just blitzed down the street. He was just running like crazy fast. And what did it for me was like, dude, this guy just cleared that seawall like it was nothing. The girl was like, are you freaking kidding me? Like, you really just cleared that wall like it was nothing. This man has just gotten some superhuman qualities, superhuman strength. I don't know what it is, but I feel like he's going to be a much more he's going to be a lot more he's going to be a force to be reckoned with these parasites, especially since now he as of late he's been learning how to coordinate and delegate roles in terms of fighting and combat with Migi. And now that he has this hearing and he moves quick and he jumps high and all that stuff, that could be an asset in combat in the future. But like I said, he has the mentality of revenge, of wanting to kill the parasite that killed his mother, and maybe even go even further than that. We have to obviously wait and see if this is just a fluke, if this is just if he's just caught up in the moment of his emotions of losing his mother. Is that drive still going to follow up after he deals with that? Or even what comes with this guy, Parasyte, if that turns out to not be his mother, which it just looks like a guy. It actually looks like the guy from the opening. It's probably one of those two guys that are showcased in the opening that are actually the identity of this Parasyte person. But yeah, so I also got to give props to, the well played for the Parasites being MIA, being incognito, because at this point that plays into their hand perfectly of, staying out of, earshot of anybody, of, especially Shinichi and Migi, not knowing, the father thinks the mother's dead. The people are like, no, your mother, your wife's alive. She was at the hotel. It just plays a better role for the Parasites because they're MIA and they're under a low profile, at the same time forwarding their own agenda or anything like that. So definitely give props to them on that. From there, I don't know. I have a hunch right now. And I've had a few hunches in the past few weeks regarding other anime as well as this one, to where they've been on point, and I'm still going to follow up with it. I think we're witnessing the start of a love triangle that's going to be going on as the series progresses. Now, I don't read the manga or light novels or whatever this, the source material of this is. This is all, observation and insight. But from this episode, we got introduced to this new girl named Maki, who was introduced subtly to Shinichi, helped him go to the hospital. Turns out she also worked at the inn that he was staying at. And then during the day, they had their little interaction, their conversation, all that stuff. Now, as we currently know, Murano is the current love/romantic interest for Shinichi, vice versa. They seem to hit it off very well. They obviously have a thing for one another. They're just too shy to admit it. And then you have this girl Maki who comes on to Shinichi of asking, hey, do you have a girlfriend? Which tells me that at least she's interested in Shinichi and seeing if he's available for her. Now, that's only two people. The third person that I think is going to be an asset and be very prominent in this series, especially after this episode, is Kana, which is the girl that was showcased a few episodes ago with those thugs that were picking on that bully Nasai or something. I think that's what his name was. And then they later took it out on Shinichi, to where she introduced herself and all that stuff. I feel like she's going to be very important. And I'm going to mention that in a second, but I just want to get on touch a little bit on Migi's changes. He went through some physiological changes regarding obviously the fact that he merged himself with Shinichi's heart as he was repairing it. Now, I think, correct me if I'm wrong, but from this episode, I think Migi is able to sense Shinichi's emotions, because in this episode he mentioned, hey, I know you have strong feelings for your family. And he also mentions that he sensed that Shinichi had animosity for him because one of his kind killed his mother. Now, if that turns out to be true, that because of this biomerge link between them two on a deeper level, that he's able to sense the emotions, I feel like this is going to play a very good role in furthering Shinichi and Migi's character development, especially Migi, because up until now, he doesn't understand the affections of humans, and it would be really great for him to develop some type of humanistic qualities, at least in terms of sympathy, of feeling bad or being able to show pity or affection for at least for Shinichi's situation, because it's the fact that one of your kind did this. And, this wasn't called for. Shinichi didn't want any of this. And not just to see everything as logic and reason, but, to just have a heart, or just develop more humanistically. And as the series has started, I felt like these two were going to essentially learn and grow from one another. Like they were going to take qualities from one another and learn as they both, you know, as the series progresses. So I feel like that's something that would really be good if that actually turned out to be true, if Migi's able to sense Shinichi's emotions, sense what he's going through, and, you know, all of those previous notions of, hey, I don't understand this, I don't understand it, this is beyond my comprehension. Maybe through the emotions of Shinichi, your host, you're going to be able to get a deeper level of understanding from that. But the big thing I want to mention here, and this is where Kana comes into play, is the fact that Migi mentioned that he goes into a 4-hour deep sleep, where prior to this, he's able to sense, you know, parasites or any subtle changes to where he instantaneously wakes up. But after going through everything of trying to keep Shinichi alive and all that other stuff, he now goes into a 4-hour deep sleep where up until those 4 hours, he doesn't wake up. And if Shinichi's met with a parasite, he's not going to be able to defend himself. Both of them are dead. But now I feel like Kana is going to come into play, because we found out a few episodes ago that Kana has the ability to sense the same wavelengths as parasites. Essentially, she's able to sense parasites to where he was able to sense Migi when she looked at Shinichi's eyes, and the second time when she shook his hand. Very subtle notice, but she noticed it nonetheless. I'm pretty sure it's not as strong as Migi's senses. Obviously, he's able to sense within 300 meters, but the fact that she's still able to sense it, and there was reference to now that's in Shinichi's mind, I feel like she's going to be an asset, or maybe she's going to even be strung along at some point and, you know, be another particular love interest for Shinichi, or just an asset even, like when Migi goes to sleep, then she's going to come on watch or something like that. But obviously she's in the opening. She's going to be important. She was introduced for a reason. She has this type of sensory female intuition parasensing ability, to where obviously that's going to play a role. So I just felt like this is the best opportunity, you know, at least for 4 hours where Migi's sleeping. He can't sense parasites. He has to look with his eyes, be alert. At least if she's around, she could be like, oh shit, there's a parasite coming this way. If they can't fight, at least they can distance themselves and keep distance from these parasites until Migi wakes up and is able to defend them. But yeah, I mean, this episode was really awesome. I did enjoy it for what it was worth. Cliffhangers are still, you know, agonizing to wait for. We have to wait an entire week, but I'm looking forward to it. If it's not his mother, obviously we're not going to get a fight, but we're probably going to get some more dialogue. You know, Migi's realization, if he comes to terms of realizing what's happening with Shinichi's body and his development and all that other stuff. And overall, everything that I mentioned, I just really hope my hunch is correct. If it is, I'll be pretty gassed. But that's my review. That's my take on the episodes, what I thought about it. Let me know what you guys thought about it in the comment section, or my review. If you guys did enjoy this or anything I had to say, please be sure to leave a thumbs up. I'd really appreciate it. And subscribe if you're new to my channel. Thank you guys very much for checking out this video, and I will catch you guys next week. Take care.